Good afternoon, everybody. Annette Walsford here, and you're all capable service business owners that need a steady stream of leads, I'm guessing. Have you worked out how many do you need? Are you getting enough from your website? What can you do to increase them? These are all the sorts of things that we'll be going through today. So first of all, I'd just like to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about myself. As I said, my name's Annette Walsford. I'm the founder of Common Sense Marketing, and I really say thank you to everybody who has joined us today for this webinar. It nearly didn't happen. We had the most massive storm I've ever been through. At 4 o'clock this morning, all the power went out. There was no internet. I got up at 7 o'clock and I thought, oh no, what's going to happen? Can we do this? But luckily the power came back on. So that was good. All right, so to tell you a bit about myself and why I am telling you about website marketing. I have a master's degree in marketing, which I completed a few years ago, a complete waste of time, didn't help me with anything practical. My knowledge and skills have come from working within corporates, large corporates, Australia Post and TNT for many years, and then with small to medium-sized businesses for many years, helping them with things like offline and online marketing, marketing strategy, so a lot of social media marketing. We've designed and developed and written a copy for around 500 websites. We do a lot of email marketing campaigns, customer loyalty campaigns. We've got some fabulous graphic designers on our team who do branding, graphic design, copy, and we've got a couple of great copywriters. And I also provide marketing mentoring and training and coaching to business owners all over Australia. Okay, so enough about me. Let's move forward. Marketing is a machine. It's made up of a whole lot of individual parts, and they're all needed and they all rely on each other. And I'm going to just quickly walk you through how it's changed and what we're going to talk about today, where it sits in the whole machine, if you like. So offline, we do a whole lot of different things to attract and promote our business. We use advertising, we go to networking meetings, we go to trade shows, we rely on word of mouth. And these days with the digital, we can bring blog posts and Google and Facebook marketing and online networking through LinkedIn into that, webinars, podcasts, we get reviews. There's all sorts of places now where people can find us and where we can promote our business. Terrific. Once we've attracted their attention, we have to build trust and we have to sell our services. It used to be just done by phone or face-to-face. We'd pitch, get the business, hopefully or not, move on to the next sale. These days, there's another step in the process where people visit your website to discover more about you before deciding if they're going to actually talk to you on the phone or let you into their business. And then we do the pitch and close. Yeah. If now with digital, if we don't get the business, we can keep marketing by email and social media and other means, which is great. Stage 3 is when we deliver what it is that we're selling, and we usually do that in person, but these days, of course, we can deliver online as well, which is great. And then the final stage, stage 4, which to me is one of the most important, is the ongoing follow-up and customer service. So we can continue to back in the day, we used to phone or visit people or mail them to get repeat business and ask for referrals. These days, there's all sorts of really clever things we can do with automated online customer surveys, with follow-up by email, social media, texting, to make that whole customer service and that whole relationship building and in getting reviews and referrals, to make that so much more powerful and much more effective. So why am I showing you all this? Because what we're going to talk about today is the visit the website bit. That's the most important. It's become the decider because everything you do leads to your website. If you don't have a website, then digitally people don't think that you exist or there's something wrong with you. So your website has to be good. It's become an extra step in the decision process, and it is basically the digital version of you. So it has to entice and persuade and be as good as you when you're out there face-to-face with people. Okay. 94% of people cited web design as a reason they mistrust or reject a company. Isn't that interesting? And if your website is not interesting, then your bounce rate will go up. Your bounce rate refers to how many people come to your website, to your landing page, or the page where the link is. That's usually the home page. And if they take one look at it, and if they don't visit any other pages, they disappear and go somewhere else. That's your bounce rate. We like to try and get a bounce rate of below 10% for our clients. So that means that people are visiting, staying on the site longer, and they're visiting more pages. Because your website, you put all that effort into getting all the traffic there, your website needs to be the lead generator. So there's 3 components to getting people to make an inquiry and having a really good website, and that is the user experience. It's the way Google works. Their SEO is entirely, the 220 elements or whatever it is now of their algorithm is biased around user experience. Basically, they want people on your site longer. You want people on your site longer. You want them to explore more, and you want to inspire them to take action. So to do that, you need to get 3 elements right. Your content, which I think is the most important. Web designers will disagree with me. They'll say that functionality and design is more important, but I think as from a marketing point of view, your content is the most important. It needs to be really compelling, and it needs to be relevant for what the people are looking for. Of course, you need functionality, and of course you need the right design and layout. So let's look at each one of those components. Compelling content, you need to grab and hold attention. You need to show that you understand why people, or what people want, what their pain is, what their problems are, what their issues are, and that you understand them. And you need to emotionally engage them, and you do this through a combination of headlines and images and copy. So let's go into it a little bit. I went and had a look online for financial planners in Brisbane. I came up with this page, was one of the pages I saw. We are Paraniti. This is another page I saw. Getting the right advice can secure your future. If we cannot put you in a better financial position, then you will not pay a cent. So let's look at those 2 side by side. These are 2 financial planners competing with each other online. The one on the left, I don't know what Paraniti is. I have to click on a link which says what we do to find out what they do. Maybe I need a partnership. It's all about a house. It just doesn't grab me. It's not about me. The one on the right is all about me. That's definitely the one that I'm going to be exploring further. It's grabbed my attention. Let's look at some electrician examples. And I have, excuse me, blocked this out because I don't want to embarrass anyone. And here's another one. So let's look at these 2 side by side. So one on the left, welcome to whatever electrical. This is the official website. It's a division of. The purpose of our web pages is to assist our current and potential clients when it comes to our services. If you want to download our brochure, do it here. Really? The one on the right is all about my needs. Do you need a competent Sydney electrician that delivers awesome service? Let's go and have a look at it in more detail. And then it's what's more important to you. Now, all of a sudden, it's about me and my needs. Do I want prompt service? Do I want an upfront full price quote? Do I want a quality electrical workmanship with 100% money back guarantee? No mess. Oh, I like the sound of that. And a full safety check. This guy gets it. He gets what people really are looking for when it comes to electrician, getting an electrical contractor out. He's showing understanding of my needs as a potential client. To use that, you need engaging headlines. As David Ogilvy said, people read the headlines, and your headline needs to have a benefit in it for the readers. It's not a feature. It's not about what you do. It's about your readers. So just to take it one step further, this is a company I did some work with a while ago. Their website, lovely photo of the team. They look like fun, interesting people. Their headline is "Welcome to Smith & Sons Capalaba." Like, really? And contact us. So I sort of suggested to them that maybe we change that. I've got the same photo, everything's the same, but I changed it to imagine your home transformed without stress or mess. Now that captivates you, doesn't it? Because that's exactly what you need if you're renovating your house. And then they go on to authenticate that with we're fussy, we're organised and we're tidy. In fact, they're going to be helpful. They're going to give me 10 rules for a perfect renovation. Now all of a sudden, this whole photo, this whole website takes on a whole new meaning because they're interested in helping me. It's not about them. The next thing on your website that's needed, now that you've grabbed people's attention, you've shown that you've understood their needs, is to now you can talk about you. So this is where you need to bring your personality and passion and be inspiring. And of course, share your authority and your credibility and that sort of thing. So let's have a look at how we can do that. This is a website we did for 2 couples. They're brothers and their wives, beautiful people that are really passionate about caravans. And their previous site, the About Us page, like many of them were, this is the name of the business, this is how long we've been in business, this is what we do, blah, blah. I changed it to completely talk about them, to talk about their passion for caravanning, how they all have caravans, and they're very fussy when it comes to making sure that everything works correctly. And that life is easy on the road and all that sort of stuff. And they're showing what lovely, happy people they are. And they've got the kids there. They're showing themselves as people. And then when you scroll down the page, there's more information about their skills, their credibility, their authority, their qualifications, how long they've been doing this. So that sort of establishes a bit more about the business. But your About Us page is about you as a person. The next thing to do, once you've convinced people about who you are, is start talking about the services and your value that you're going to provide, the benefits that you're going to bring, the packages that you have. Share your knowledge, share some tips. This is all about what you can do for them. So this is where you have, like on your website, you'll have services pages or product pages or whatever. And I suggest that you have 1 page per service. Now, this is a client, Computer Cures. We did his website for him. This page is all about one of his many services. As you can see, we talk about, we follow this little old marketing acronym, AIDA, A-I-D-A. A is first, attention. Grab their attention. So if you ever wanted to set up or make changes to your phone or internet plans, but you're not quite sure what to ask, get their interest. You feel like you should be getting a better deal, but you don't know how to do it, and then you can feel their pain. You end up waiting on hold for over an hour, only to end up more confused. If anybody's ever spent any time trying to get hold of Telstra or Optus, you'll know what I'm talking about. So then we go into the desire. So we talk about, this is I speak, geek speak, you don't, let me do it for you. And the call to action is delegated to us, we'll do it all for you. So that's AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. The next thing that you can do is share your knowledge. And the best way to do that is through regular blog posts. This is another client of ours, Credelt Painting. We help them with blog posts every month. They've got quite a lot on there now, and they share all their knowledge freely. You'd think that by doing that, people would say, oh, well, I know how to paint a house properly or fix a deck properly or how to prepare the paint or whatever it is. In actual fact, it has the opposite effect. People read these fantastic blog posts and see how open and transparent and sharing they are, giving away all their insider knowledge. And they go, you know what, these guys know what they're doing. I'm just going to get them to do it because it's just too much hard work. And so it actually has the opposite effect. It has a profound effect on generating more inquiries. And we can track those through Google Analytics at the back. Okay, and to go on from blogs, these are some stats I found from HubSpot. Companies that blog have 55% more website visitors, and that's because you blog on the key to it is to create blog posts around what people are interested in, so keywords that they search on, so it attracts more attention to your website and actually ends up generating you a lot more leads. And I don't know where they got these stats from, but they're a huge American company that specialises in online marketing, so it's interesting stats. The next thing, now that you've grabbed their attention, that you've sold yourself as a wonderful person to deal with who really can help them, is to reduce their risk. Make sure that there is no risk for them to do business with you. Build trust. And there's so many ways you can do that. One is to offer a fantastic guarantee, and I don't mean satisfaction guaranteed. That is so pathetic. Don't even think about putting that up there. It doesn't mean anything. It's not measurable. This is another client of ours, Screen Factory. He really sold me on the phone to his manufacturing process. He manufactures and installs security screen doors, and he's very passionate about what he does. And I said, has anybody ever got broken into? He says, absolutely not. I said, so you've never had to replace one of your screen doors? He says, no. I said, well, then why don't you offer a lifetime guarantee? I said, oh, I couldn't do that. Why not? He says, well, what if somebody did get broken into? I said, well, would they get through your screen door? He says, no. I said, well, then, he said, got it. So he puts up this lifetime guarantee, 100% for anything that that he creates, manufactures and installs. He's never been called on it. And doesn't that reduce your risk? You definitely buy one of those doors. Another way to show off, to reduce risk, is to be transparent about your process. If you've got a good process, our client Premier Contact Point develops and installs software for contact centres, and they've got a very specific process that they go through to make sure that the software is customised and integrated to suit each company. It's not an off-the-shelf product. So we get a lot of traffic on this page. Another way that you can reduce risk is to be open and upfront and transparent about everything that people always ask you. So take all your common questions you get over and over again, put up your FAQs pages, answer them here. And just quietly, it's also a great way to perhaps filter out clients who don't quite meet your ideal client specification. If you had a question here like, I don't know, what size companies do you deal with? And you're a consultant, you might say, our clients, you must have a minimum of 5 employees, or we only deal with companies, we find we best deal with companies that are turning over, 500,000 or whatever it is that and that's a great sort of way to also make it very clear about who your target market is and who you help. And the final thing to do is to provide proof. So this is another one of our clients, IX Survey. They're a hydrography company to mapping and charting of undersea. So they've got an extensive amount of experience. So we developed all these lovely case studies with them, and we use this process or this formula, the background, the requirement, the challenges they faced when they undertook the project challenges, the solution they came up with, and then you can't see at the bottom, but it's also the outcome, and then there's lots of photos. Case studies, I cannot stress enough how much they're important. So if you've got some case studies, put them up there. Also put up testimonials. They must be true, legit testimonials. The ones here on the left for Computer Cures, this is about a quarter of his testimonials. We've got a little button here so you can click more and read the whole testimonial, but he's got photos with each one of them. He's got some video testimonials, and this page gets a lot of traction, but the credibility that he's got, because he's helped all these people. Over on the right, Credell Painting, they've got 5 pages of testimonials, but we've also put up a screenshot of their True Local testimonial reviews page, where they've got a lot of wonderful reviews. And it's good to put these up because they're unbiased, they're third party, and these clients have gone to True Local and put them up there themselves. So what we're looking at here is to just recap the content. You need compelling content, and which is about them, not about you. You want to attract people and show empathy and understanding and show that you can solve their issues. Then you talk about yourself. You be inspiring. Bring yourself, make yourself visible. Talk about your offerings, the packages, the services. Give away, information, be transparent, provide excellent value. And finally, reduce risk with proof, with FAQs, all that sort of thing. Okay, we're now going to do one of the critiques. So let me just flip over to let's move to women's fitness coaching. This is Terry's website. I'll just say thank you very much to everybody who did register their interest in having the website critiqued. That's fantastic, putting yourself forward like that for sort of critique. It can't be easy. We had to sort of limit it, otherwise we'd be here for hours, and I'm sure nobody wants to be here for hours, so I'll try and be as quick as I can. So just based on what we talked about when it comes to grabbing people's attention, talking about their needs, Terry, it's an attractive site. You've got some lovely photos here. You do talk about your mission and your passion. I would be looking here, instead of this headline here about what you do, I'd be looking here for more sort of headlines that speak to the visitor to the website. So, you know, maybe something along the lines of, are you, the older you get, the tireder and the more sluggish you feel invisible, blah, blah, you know, and then maybe exacerbate that with, if you don't do anything about it now, it'll get worse and worse and worse to the point where you can hardly walk and you're so tired all the time, or you're so overweight, whatever it is that your key. And then you provide the solution. I've helped hundreds of women throughout Melbourne look younger and feel fitter and get back into life just like they did when they were 40 or 30 or whatever. So, and then the call to action. Now, when I look at this site, you've got a nice call to action here, get your free guide, which I download. I'll put a picture of it so I see what I'm getting. But that relates to women who put on weight. The other thing I'm a bit confused about, if I keep going, there's all your services that belong on the services page, or they should have headings that relate to my needs. You're providing the solutions here. I'm still in the needs stage. So, you know, maybe it's how to get fitter, how to lose weight, how to get, I don't know, imagine. You've got some really good words here, but they're kind of buried. So, oh, look, attention, professional, busy, stressed, overweight women. Now we're grabbing their attention, who it's for. That should be up the top. Although, do I need to be professional to be able to use your services? What if I'm not? Do I need to be overweight? What if I'm not? So you need to be very clear about the problems that you will solve. And the other thing I'll say, and we'll get to layout and design a bit later, excuse me, but don't ever use centered text. Centering is only for headlines and for captions. It's just very hard to read when you do it, you know, in the text part of things. I'm not going to go right through the website because we don't have time, but you do have a lot of the elements that are needed. You've got the testimonials, which is great. You've got some photos and gallery. They don't tell me anything, but maybe if I clicked on them. People that you work with. Now we've got a call to action down the bottom. So yes, we will be talking about calls to action a little bit later on, but you should never have more than one, or two calls to action, one's a phone, per page, and we'll get into calls to action a bit later. So Terry, I hope that's been a little bit helpful in terms of perhaps reorganising your page into where the information is presented and the kind of headings and subheadings that you need on it. Your home page is your introduction, and then you want it to lead to other pages where you provide the solutions. Okay, let's jump over to back here. And we'll go to the next one. So now we're going to talk about perfect functionality, the second important part in the equation. And we're talking about things, these are more the geeky things, I suppose, but your website needs to look good on a mobile phone. It needs to be easy to navigate. It needs to have all the right coding in the back of it so things don't break easily. That's a bit geeky, but believe me, when we add too many things to websites, sometimes they conflict with each other and nothing works and you see weird things pop up. Or you go and look at your website on another browser, like you might be used to using it, looking at it in Firefox or Chrome, and then you look at it on Safari or Opera or something, it looks weird. So you have to sort of make sure that it functions well everywhere. It needs to be fast to load. If it doesn't load within 6 seconds, a lot of people will just give up and go somewhere else. And there needs to be no broken links. So you don't want to frustrate visitors. That's the next step. Australia has the highest mobile phone, smartphone usage per capita in the world. We're all addicted to our phones. We've all got little smartphones apparently, and this year internet searches and browsing on the internet exceeded computers, which is amazing. 62% of companies design their websites for mobile platforms have increased sales, and look, having a mobile responsive site is so important that Google came out earlier this year with one of the big algorithm updates which basically penalises websites that don't have mobile responsive sites. So you'll go down in the search engine results for your keywords if your site's not mobile responsive. So let's have a look at these in more detail. So this is what I mean by mobile responsive. There it is on a big screen, and there it is on an iPad, and there it is on a mobile phone. It looks completely different. It is not that site, just sort of shrunk a little bit, which makes all the text hard to read. It's actually automatically lays itself out so that the navigation and the images and the text, the fonts, everything resized to suit the smaller screen. That's what true responsive is. Okay. Navigation. It's good to have your navigation across the top. Keep it simple. Have little drop-down lists. Make it logical, so the way that people search on your site. What I do when I'm designing a site is I'll get somebody who doesn't know anything about this company, and I'll say, well, what would you look for, and how would you, what kind of services or products or information would you be looking for, and see how, and listen to their words. Repeat navigation in the footer. You don't want people to have to scroll all the way back up to the top of your page just to find somewhere else. Put a search box in. A search box is great because people type in there, particularly for larger sites, or, weight loss or something like that, and that'll show all the results on your website that have got those keywords in it. But it also shows up in your Google Analytics as keyword searches, and then you've got some fantastic information on what people are really interested in, and you could be doing your next blog posts on those. Use in-text links. So here's an article in a blog post I wrote on our site on email newsletters, and rather than make people go all the way back up here to click on the navigation and click email marketing to go and find out about our email newsletter service, I put a link within the copy, and that they click on that and it takes them there. So you should have what we call in-text links on every single page of your site to make it easy for them to go somewhere else that is relative. And the final tip I have is ensure that your logo, which is usually on the top left, has been set up by your web designer to be clickable, because most people these days click on your logo to go back to your homepage. Okay, load time. It does need to load, as we said, hopefully within 6 seconds. This is one of many sites where you can put your URL in and see how fast the text will load, and then down the bottom it shows you a whole bunch of things that you can do to make it load faster. So it's one of those geeky things, but it's important. Make sure there's no broken links on your site. When you go into the back of Google Analytics, it'll show you all your broken links. If you do have broken links, you need to go and fix them or keep up to date. But usually what will happen is your website will throw up automatically this page which says 404 error, page not found, something like that. It's really boring. So what we do with all those sites that we build is we make the 404 page really interesting, and we'll have an interesting photo. We'll give links to other areas where they should go and click and have a look. On one of my sites, I've got an opt-in form with a free giveaway, so we'll never miss an opportunity. Okay, so functionality. So basically what we're talking about is do not frustrate your website visitors on any of your devices. Right, time for another critique. So we've done, let's go to this one, Call Australia Home. This is from Johanna, and I have to confess, Johanna, I wasn't quite sure when I first came here what your site's about, if it's immigration or migrating overseas or whatever. There was no headlines, no benefits, there's no information until I scroll down and I see that you're migration law specialists. There's no contact information anywhere, so I found that a bit confusing. So I clicked on the contact us page, and then I got a whole bunch of information, which is great. But this is what I would expect to find on the About Us page. And when I scroll down, I finally get to a form, and it's asking for a lot of information, an awful lot of information. So I don't know if I need to fill all that out. So that's probably, yeah, we could probably make that a little bit more simpler, because the purpose of a contact form initially is to get people to send you an inquiry. It's step one. We don't sell, we're talking about lead generation here. I clicked on this one, IELTS. I don't know what IELTS means. So probably need to be a little bit clearer about that. Now info, I clicked on that. There's no info at all. So that means I've got to go to the drop down. So info, yeah. So, and then we've got, you know, a heap of stuff here. So it needs a little bit of reorganizing there. About services. So you've got the bones of a good website, but I think it needs to be reorganized into groups. The information is very organized a bit, and also expanded onto, you know, the services that you provide, the benefits, you know, and really speak to people about their needs. I hope that's been a little bit helpful, but I'll be happy to talk to you about that in more detail outside of the webinar. Okay, let's go back to here. And, oh, sorry. Okay, now we come on to the final part of the big puzzle, which is the right design and layout. This is the area that graphic designers and web designers get very excited about, and with good reason. It is very important. And it all helps with a great user experience. As you can see, there's what people design, and then there's what people do. I love this photo. So design and usability is about things like fonts and colors, skim readers, images and videos, calls to action, all that sort of stuff. So let's look at it. Fonts, I don't know if you've noticed, but on most websites they're getting bigger and bigger. There's also, they need to be Google friendly, so that, excuse me, when you're when it automatically resizes down onto your mobile phone, the font also resizes. There's a real trend towards using large, captivating fonts for headings and benefits. It's also important to choose font styles that reflect your brand, really important. And don't use too many fonts and don't use too many colors. So we'll look at that in a bit more detail. Here's this wonderful little chart which shows the psychology behind fonts. So a traditional corporate sort of company might, you know, use these suite of fonts. A young gung-ho sort of company might go for something a little bit more sans serif, which are these sorts of chic fonts over here. So you probably see those on, you know, stylish, I don't know, women's wear sites, young women's wear. This is more fun sort of fonts, and you can see that all the fonts sort of bring out feelings, emotions, and create associations with, you know, different types of businesses and feelings and things like that. So there's a little bit of psychology and science behind font choices. Another pet hate of mine is do not ever please use excessive dark backgrounds with lots of white text. Look, it is a sort of a trendy thing to do if you've got a gaming site, I suppose, but for the rest of us, they're very, very hard to read. They don't show up well, particularly at night if you're trying to look at your phone. They're no good for anybody that's got eyesight issues like me. And you never see a newspaper or a magazine printed like this, and it's for a very good reason. They're just not user-friendly at all. It is good to have white space, lots of white space. There's lots of tricks to this. They do all sorts of tests where they follow the eye and all that sort of stuff. What's important to do is cater for skim readers because, I mean, I'm sure you're all the same as me. When you get to a website, you sort of quickly skim through it and see if there's anything interesting there. It's interesting that only about 20 to 30% of the words are actually read. So we really do need to design the layout to cater for skim readers. And the way you do that, I mean, look at this. This is another company that does software for contact centers, and they've got great long tracks of boring old text, which I'm never going to read. And as you can see, those 3 out of the 5 paragraphs start with them. Let's look at a similar sort of product offering from a company that we've done work with. We've done all their copywriting, and we've broken it up into headings that people are going to read, and then use bullet points and lists just to make the whole skimming process and the whole layout and readability process a lot easier. Use photos that work with it. Use good images, and there's a couple of reasons. This is an example from a landing page where we were giving away a checklist. We could have used one of those stock images of somebody ticking a checklist, but I really wanted to grab attention. So I found this gorgeous photo all about love potion, which grabs your attention immediately, and you look at it and then you go read the headline. 34 things you could be doing now to increase customer love for your business. Download. Well, says it all, doesn't it? Much more interesting than a checklist. And it was quite successful for us too. I have to say that your vehicles are not interesting. Nobody is interested in your vehicles except you. What should be here is some kind of really interesting, customer-focused image about the work that you do, or your team, or something. But it just does nothing. So don't ever please plaster your homepage or with lots of photos of your vehicles. Instead, what I want you to do is use lots of images that relate to the content on the page. So back on the Caravan Perfection page, on their repairs page, we asked them to provide us with a whole bunch of images of the actual work that they do. And you can see that these images relate to the text on the page. And we put them there on such a way that when you hover over each image, it flips over and comes up with a caption which talks about what the image is all about. So we're telling the story as well. Also, think about using video. It's just amazing, the rapid growth in video. Cisco thinks that by 2019, 80% of all content will be video. So that's something to think about. Look, it's so easy to just whip out your little mobile phone and record a quick video. We've featured a few of those on our clients' websites where they've done it themselves. Or you can hire a professional video company to do one for you, and they're not expensive. And the quality and the message that you get across is really worth it. Here's some stats on video marketing. Combining video with full-page ads boosts engagement by 22%. After watching a video, 64% of users are more likely to buy a product online. Of course, because they see it in action. It's reality. Real estate agents' listings that include a video receive 403% more inquiries than those without. Isn't that interesting? I urge you to think about getting video. In fact, one of the people on our call today, Lachlan, has a video He's in Brisbane, has a professional video company, provides videos for companies, sports and corporates all over Queensland. So if anybody would like details, get in contact with me later and I can put you in touch with Lachlan. He does some amazing stuff. Oh, what have I done? So I thought at this point we could go to another critique, our third one, and I'm going to choose Mason Green. Before we get on to the very final bit, which is about your calls to action and the fantastic special information I have for you. So let's just have a look at Mason Green equipment. Thank you very much for submitting your website. I do have to say I find it very busy. It's got a very busy background over here, and then it's got a busy centerpiece with your, and we've got no navigation. We don't have any contact information nor headlines. I'm not actually sure what you do. I don't know whether you supply this equipment, whether you repair this equipment, whether you hire it out, and is it who the equipment's for? Is it a huge range or a small specific range? It's just a little bit. So we've got different types of equipment here. Oh, now we've got we've got navigation here, and then we've got blue on black, which is just can't read it. So a little bit of, you've got a video, which is great. So you've got some great elements. It just needs redesigning, relaying out, and then some copywriting added to sort of really explain what you do, and as we talked about earlier. So without going right through your website, they're my sort of first comments. You need to be very clear to website visitors why they're here and what, how you can help them. So if you'd like me to give you a full detailed critique, we can talk about that after the call as well. Let's go and have a look now at calls to action. These are the most important parts of your display and layout. So when I say calls to action, I'm talking about action for two types of visitors to your website. The hot leads, the people that are there because they've got an urgent need they need fixed. Now you want to encourage them and inspire them through all that we've just talked about to contact you. So you want to make it easy for them to contact you through phone numbers or an order button or an offer form or a contact us page. And then of course you also want to capture contact information from those that are not quite ready to buy yet but could be. So let's have a look at that in more detail. We go back and have a look at the Need an Electrician site that we did for our Sydney client. With this is scrolling down his page a little bit, but right at the top in the bar we designed it in such a way that no matter how far down the page you scroll, the phone number stays there. So it's a little sort of tab, so you can always click on that phone number and call straight away. If you're on a computer, you'd probably call it through Skype, but if you're on your mobile phone, it just starts ringing. Then we had, we placed get a fast, accurate quote now forms, and these are linked through into an email system, and we repeated that form down the bottom as well, so that when people are scrolling down, they're looking at all the services that he provides, and that they can decide they do need to call him or contact him. They don't have to scroll all the way back to the top of the page to do it. This is another client, Motel Oasis. I think Tracy's on the call with us today. We designed her website, helped her with it. She's got some great calls to action. She's got the phone number up the top right that's clickable. She's got a Book Now button which leads straight through to her booking website, and that's repeated down here as well. And this is on her homepage. Then over on other pages where we're talking about the restaurant or rooms or whatever, we've also added an inquiry form in there, just in case people weren't quite ready to call or quite ready to book, but they had an inquiry. And it's amazing how many people fill out this form and send off that inquiry. And there's all kinds of inquiries, I mean, booking for the restaurant or will something be available or whatever. What you need to do is cater to people for how they want to contact you and how they want to communicate. Not everybody wants to call. people are happy to read email, to send emails, and not everybody wants to send email, they'd rather call. So you have to, make it really easy. It's also really good to include relevant calls to action on specific pages. So back on the Computer Cures site, on his home networking site, a call to action is set up your home network for you. It's not call us today. It's specific to that product or service, so it's relevant. And we've also put a relevant testimonial about home networking, on this page. On this page, which is about computer repairs, completely different call to action, completely different and relevant testimonial. So on your contact us page, this needs to be simple and easy, and despite having all those contact forms everywhere on your site, it's amazing how many people still go to your contact page and want to fill that part out. So your contacts page needs to be simple. If you've got some kind of destination, like a shop or a restaurant or whatever, we always put a map in here so that they can easily find you. We like to set these up. These come through to you. These, don't ask for too much information. This is an inquiry. The less amount of information fields that you ask for, the more likely people will be to fill it out. You don't need to know what's, state they're in, how much money their business turns over, all that stuff that you want to know further down the track. You don't need to know that now. You just want to talk to them. You can also encourage them to contact you through other means. Some people do prefer to message via Facebook or whatever. So then for the people who aren't quite ready to contact you yet, as I mentioned, let's grab their information. This is what we call lead magnets. So on the bottom of the Computer Cures, in the footer, at the bottom of each page, we've got this, what we call a lead magnet. We ask people to sign up for his newsletter, chock full of interesting and useful technology tips and great special offers. And people fill it out. And he's been able to substantially grow his prospect email list and generate business from it because we help him with sending out a newsletter every month. So he's staying in contact with those people who one day will need his IT services. Here's another one for another client in Melbourne. We help them develop this useful ebook on how to look after processed vegetables. This is for their client base, which is basically restaurants and catering establishments. But that's helped them build their prospect list. And then finally, there's mine, one from one of my websites. This is a pop-up that only shows when people get to the end of, or they're just about to leave this website. And I don't want them to go away. They haven't purchased my book, but I hope they do. So this little pop-up comes up and we grab their name and email address and we send them the free guide to common tomato problems. Really useful guide. And when they get into our email list and we track it and we see that there's a good conversion to sale later on. So that's a great, lead magnets are a great way to capture people not quite ready to buy yet. The next thing I want to talk about is testing. Now this is the final part in the whole puzzle. It is really important to test your calls to action, to test what's on your pages, because sometimes increasing or making a change can increase opt-in big time. So look at this one here. All they did was change the colour from green to red, and that improved their opt-in rate by 21%. Here's another one. It's a bit blurry, sorry about that, but on the left, this is a driving academy, teach truck drivers. On the left is picture of it's actually a stock photo from one of those stock places, and it's just a guy driving a truck, and all they did was change that image to one of their actual drivers in front of one of their actual trucks, so a real one. And the results were outstanding. 161% increase in people filling out that contact us form. Now if they'd never conducted that test, they would have been quite happy or not known that how substantially they could improve their lead generation by making that one small change. And these are really easy to do. In Google Analytics or in some of the other programs, you can do what's called split testing. So Google will, you do 2 versions of this page and serve up. Google serves them up 50-50, so that 50% of people come to your site, see one, 50% see the other. And you run the test for a couple of weeks, and then the winning one stays, your new landing page or your new home page. You get rid of the other. So that becomes your new control. So it's all quite scientific. And here's another one. This is one we did for one of our clients. We had 2 form designs. One was a simple want a fast quote, just, we'll contact you. And the other was get a free colour consultation. So we were giving away a bribe, if you like, to get people to, they could download the voucher and then use that when they booked a service, or a painting service. I'd like everybody to have a go at guessing which one they think got the most. So just put that into your questions and let's just see what people think. Okay, so we're getting some, the one on the right, left, so we're getting all sorts of different answers. Okay. All right, I won't, people are guessing about half and half. So here's the results. The one on the right was 550% increase. People weren't interested in this wonderful voucher valued at $150. I couldn't believe it. All they wanted was a quote. If we'd never done that split test, we never would have known. So that's what's on the website now. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay. And finally, a great way to see what people are doing on your website is to use heat mapping technology, which apparently when we read, we use our mouse. We move up and down across the page like that. And this heat mapping technology shows us where people go and what they're interested in, what they're not interested in. So this gives us great information to then go make changes to the website and move things around. See, look, nobody's clicking up there. Nobody's interested in that. But they're interested in that. They're not interested in that. So it helps you to move, to decide where to move things around. So if you want to, push particular things, or if something's of no interest to somebody, on the homepage, take it off. Okay, so basically a great user experience is all about your layout as well, your fonts and your colours, improving readability, arresting the attention of skim readers, building engagement through different types of media as well as words, making sure you've got good calls to action on every single page. There's not too many of them. They're not conflicting. They're in the right position. You're testing them. And that you're grabbing people who are not quite ready to buy. You're grabbing their attention or building your list of prospects through lead magnets, as we had a look. So there's the 3 elements: content, functionality and layout. These are what, getting these 3 components right is what leads to much better lead generation from your website, or people, contacting you, and that's what we want. So you can see there's quite a bit to it. So I hope you're all ready to renovate your site to generate more leads, more phone calls, more inquiries, a bigger list. I'd just like to show you a couple of our renovations that we've done. This is one on the left and the one on the right. This is Credelt Painting. Since we updated the website, they're getting so many leads, and you can see we've taken off that offer and we've just got want a fast quote now. So they get an ongoing amount of leads every single week from their website by phone and by email, and we can track all those through Google Analytics. Is Tracy's site, the old site that she inherited when they first bought the motel, and the revamp, and as she said, they're getting a lot more traffic. They've doubled their bookings and they're getting lots and lots of reviews. So their new website has had a big impact on the growth of their business. And this is a website that was built about 10 years ago. It was an old style. It was all to the left, wasn't in the centre. This is for this well-known guitarist and music trainer in Sydney, got an Academy of Music, Steve Flack. His new website, he was doing offline marketing. His website wasn't working. As soon as we revamped his website and helped him with a bit of social media marketing, he stepped up his inquiries by 500% a week, which is pretty awesome. He's very pleased. So to help you, I have some Renovate to Generate packages, because doing all this is not easy. It's time consuming. You need to know what you're doing, particularly when it comes to the technical side of things. Some of you will go ahead and do it, and I hope you do, because I want to see you, really ramp up those leads in 2017. But for those of you who do want some help, we've got some great packages. We've got the mini reno and a deluxe reno, and basically it just, whether you choose the mini or the deluxe, depends on how much work needs to be done to your site. So the process is that we will critique and give you a renovation plan, depending on how much work your site needs doing. And we'll say, and the most important things that need doing first. So I'll be doing those. If it needs a bit of a little redesign, the header and the footer, the deluxe includes that. And this is the most important part, we will rewrite the copy and update the layouts of the pages so that they are customer focused, as we went through earlier with the content and the design and the layout side of it. So it'll be 4 or 8 pages depending on which package you choose. And of course we'll update the navigation at the top and bottom for the deluxe. We will go through and optimise for SEO each of the pages that we update, and we'll put some in-text links in there. We'll also fix some images so that they load fast. We might ask you to replace some of the images. We might provide some images for you, depending on what's needed on each page. But it's important to have good quality images that load fast and are relevant to the copy and attract attention. We're going to look at the calls to action, the forms, the clickable phone number, the positioning, that sort of thing, and we'll look at those 2 per page. If you take the deluxe package and you've already got an email system like MailChimp or Infusionsoft or Aweber, we'll have a look at the integration. If you haven't, we can set that up for you. And we'll even design and write and set up your first autoresponder email that goes out when somebody fills out one of your online forms. Finally, we will have a look at your Google Analytics setup, make sure it's linked to Search Console, and you're getting all the right traffic recording so you can see what's happening on each page, which pages people are visiting, that sort of thing, and that you've got conversion goals so that you can see how many people, you can track how many people are filling out forms, are clicking on your clickable phone number, downloading your lead magnet, all that sort of stuff. I mean, if you can't measure what's happening, you've got no way of improving it. So Google Analytics is a very important part of the process. So how much is all this going to cost? Well, our packages, a mini reno is $2,000 for up to 4 pages, and the deluxe is $2,500 for up to 8 pages plus the setup of the email, that sort of thing. That's our normal prices, but because it's Christmas and we're normally a little bit quieter in January, we do have some special offer on just for people on the webinar, and I'm delighted to share this with you. We're offering a 30% discount, so in actual fact that brings that down to $1,400 for the mini and $1,749 for the deluxe. Now, anybody that's ever had any work done on your website before, that particularly when it comes to the copywriting side of things, that this is a really, really good deal. So these are how it's all going to work. I'd like you can go to this website, and I think Maria is going to put that link into the chat now. This is where you can find out everything about the packages and where you can order them. If you want the 30% discount, you need to order them before the 13th of December and put in the promo code Renovate to get that 30% discount. We will be calling you and getting the critique done, going through this website with you, getting it all planned, all the changes, and then starting the work, and it'll be all completed in January, which is when we get really busy again. Now I must stipulate that we can only do this on WordPress sites. They're the only kind of sites we work on these days. We used to work on other kinds of sites, but WordPress is the best website system and our preference. And if your site does need a full redesign to make it responsive, that is quite a bit of work, so we will have a chat to you separately about that. So I hope that you have found today's quite interesting and given you some food for thought. So go ahead and have a look at the Renovate to Generate packages. The link's there, and I believe that there's also a link in the handout section of your little box where you can click on that to download the ebook, but we're actually going to email it to you straight away. Look, thank you so much. I hope that the information that we've given you today has helped you to get some ideas on what you could be doing with your website to make it work a lot harder for you next year. And if anybody would like to have a chat further, please go to our website and you'll see our contact details on our contact page. Great to have you all join us today. Thank you so much for your time. Bye now.